Hello, I'm Andy from almostoffgrid.com, and today I'm going to show you how to roast beef in probably the maddest way you've ever seen. We're going to cook this piece of topside for 5 minutes per pound at the hottest temperature our oven will go to. Then we're going to turn the oven off, leave the door closed for a further 2 hours, which will give us perfectly cooked medium roast beef. What we need is a piece of topside, some Dijon mustard. This is our favorite Dijon mustard that we pick up when we go to France. Black pepper, a spoon for spooning out the mustard, and a brush for brushing the mustard onto the beef. You also need a scale to weigh the beef so that you know how long to cook it for. What this is going to give you, by the way, is perfectly pink in the middle beef. Let's see how heavy this is. I asked Dick for a 1.5 kilogram piece of topside. 1.496, I think that's a fail. Right, let's do the calculations. Now we know how long it's got to cook for. First thing is to get some Dijon on there. And this is my preference. I know there are other recipes out there like Delia's where you'd rub flour and mustard powder and so on. I think this is easier, and I'm having a lazy Sunday afternoon. And I just basically about two dessert spoons of mustard onto the beef, and I'm just painting it on. And if you like beef sandwiches with mustard, you'll like this. The other thing to mention is that you cannot open the oven door. So if you want to have roast potatoes or anything else roasted with your roast beef, you're going to have to cook it afterwards while the beef's resting, because even using the top oven, if you've got two ovens like we do, causes problems and the beef will overcook, and you don't want that. Right, the mustard's on. Now I'm just going to grind some pepper. Right, there you go. Ready for the oven. While we're waiting for the oven to warm up, one quick thing to mention is that although the beef is covered in mustard, this isn't a strong mustard, it's a mild mustard. Dijon is a mild mustard, and the mustard is not an overpowering flavour, it just gives the beef a lovely, lovely crust when it's cooked. Right, the oven's up to temperature, so we're going to pop this in now for 16 minutes and 29 seconds. There's the timer. Turn the oven off. And now we're going to leave the oven closed for another 2 hours. Right, 2 hours is up. Let's get it out the oven. As you can see, there's quite a bit of gravy. I'm going to cover it in foil now to rest. And if I was doing potatoes or anything else like that, I'd stick those in now. But I'm just going to leave that to rest for a while. It's been resting for a couple of hours now. I know what you're thinking. It's still warm. It's still lovely. Let's cut into it and see what it looks like. And there you have it. Perfectly pink beef, roasted to perfection. So the beef is probably on the side of rare, but if you wanted to do it a bit more, you could just pop it in some foil. Use the foil that was over it for resting, pop it in there, pop it in the oven for a couple of minutes, it'll warm it up and it'll cook it a bit more. If you want it a bit more, that's perfect for us. And Bev's going to talk about the juice from the beef.
Well, it's just to say, don't waste it. If you're not going to make gravy from it, I'm a bit obsessed with homemade gravy, but we're not having roast beef and Yorkshire pudding tonight, we're having cold beef and salad. So we won't use this fat tonight, so I will put it in a small container and freeze it so that I can make gravy with it in future, or if I'm making a cottage pie with beef mince, I can add some of this to it because it adds the flavour. There's all sorts of things you can do with beef fat. So if you're not going to use it now, pop it in the freezer and get it out later to use. But if you are going to have roast beef, when you cook the beef like this, it makes fantastic gravy.
Bev made a very valid point earlier, which was to remind you that I cut through the middle of the beef, which is where the rarest point in the beef will be. We're now going to cut bits from the end for our tea tonight. So let's see how that goes. As you can see, it's still beautifully pink, moist beef. So there you have it. Beef cooked for 5 minutes per pound to start with at the hottest temperature your oven can get, which, as you'll know now, is 661.387 seconds per kilogram. We'll round that down to 661 seconds per kilogram, which is easier to work out. Served with jacket potato, homegrown salad, and Bev's honey mustard dressing. If you enjoyed this video, please like and subscribe, and we hope we'll see you again soon. Bye.